Hi, everybody. So if you made it to this step, step 3, part 3, you are ready to answer question number 10. Congratulations, you are almost halfway. You are halfway there. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. You are going to use the regression equation to calculate the solution of the parabola algebraically, okay? Now, what does that mean, Miss Lawrence? What is a solution? What is that? Let's go to your Desmos, where your picture is stored. You already found your quadratic equation, remember before the regression line from the last video. So a solution is going to be where the quadratic crosses the x-axis. So here's my x-axis. My x-axis is the horizontal line, and my y-axis is the vertical line. And so my x-axis, this line, this parabola crosses the x-axis at this point. Let's click on that again. It crosses the x-axis at that point. That's what you call the solution, a zero. You're probably thinking in your head, Miss Lawrence, why am I solving for this if all I can do is click here and it solves for it for me? Well, because we want to see the math. We want to see you calculate it using the quadratic formula successfully, okay? So here is the first zero and here is the second zero. And when you saw that I clicked on the first zero, this one actually showed up grayed up, right? So that was letting you know where the other zero was. And so our zeros are 1.273 and 7.231. Notice that it's written as points, right? We call them zeros because the y-coordinates are zeros. But these are written as points. The x-intercepts are written as points because the x-intercepts are points. So just pay attention to what the question is asking, whether it's asking for the x-intercept or the zeros. That's the difference between the two. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to solve this using the quadratic formula. So remember, this is our equation. Let's get to that document. Where do we have the equation? And there it goes. There goes our regression line where A, B, and C already marked. And there goes the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So a is equal to negative 0.30337, b is equal to 2.57994, and c is equal to negative 2.79298. So to solve the quadratic equation, we're actually going to do two different operations. Do you see here where it says plus or minus? That right there tells me I'm going to do two operations. I'm going to add, and I'm also going to subtract. Those are the two things I'm going to do. So that means I'm going to possibly end up with two different solutions. That's what it means. So two solutions is a possibility. Also, one solution is a possibility. Also, no solution is a possibility. And in that case, we normally call those imaginary solutions. No real solutions. So two real solution, one real solution, or imaginary solutions. Those are the possibilities. We're going to add, and then we're going to subtract. So let's go ahead and set this up. We have x is equal to negative. I'm going to plug the numbers. I'm going to leave some space so we can plug the numbers in. And the first one is going to be a plus, right? So all right. And then the second time I do this, I'm going to do subtraction, right? So x is equal to negative. This time we're going to subtract. All right, so now let's plug the numbers in. A is, hold on, let's start with B. B is 2.57994. And so everywhere B is supposed to be, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. Now, here's the catch that I want to remind you guys of. My B is positive. But if your B came out to be negative, you need to make sure you put that negative inside the parenthesis with your B, okay? If you don't, it was going to come up with a different answer. So you want to make sure you have that in there. All right, A, we plug that in now. And you see my A is negative, right? So I'm going to write negative here. And there's A, it goes on top and it also goes on bottom, right? So according to this, A is on top and A is on bottom. Okay. All right, and then finally, let's go ahead for actually do it down here too. Might as well set this up at the same time. Okay, and then C. C. So C is negative 2.79298. So negative 2.79298. And I'm going to extend this black line to show that the radical is going over the whole thing. Okay. All right, so this is my fraction bar, right? And then this line is going over the whole thing. Okay. So now that I've set it up, okay, we are going to go to Desmos and we're going to type this in exactly the way it looks on my paper. We're going to type this into Desmos and we're going to let Desmos do all the math for us as far as the calculations go. So let's go there. But if we were to work that out by hand, we would actually use the order of operations. All right, so here we are in Desmos, and we're going to do negative. Hold on, let's do our fraction bar first. Let's do our fraction bar. So you see Desmos has a keyboard, and we're going to use the division symbol there. And then that gives us a numerator. Now, let me make sure you understand why I'm doing the fraction bar. Here in the quadratic equation, we have a numerator and a denominator. We have a numerator and a denominator. Therefore, we need a fraction bar. All right, let's go back. Let's type this in. All right, so that's going to be negative B. So negative 2.57994. All right, plus the square root. Square root is actually on the Desmos keyboard. Okay. Make sure you type it in correctly. You don't want no surprises. All right, well, you have to check your math and do it over again because it's not making sense to you. 4 times A. A is negative 0.30. C, which is negative 2.79298. Now, we're not about to type this again. I just want you to know. We're typing this one time, and then we're going to copy and paste. We're going to work smarter, not harder, okay? So 2 times A, which is negative 0.30337. All right, so we finished typing that in. And as you can see, this one, remember um, this formula, this form had the plus sign on it. So, right, that was the plus sign. All right, the next time we do this is going to be the minus sign. But let's go ahead and check our zero on Desmos. Let's make sure our answer is equal to 1.273 and 1.273. Yep, we did that correctly. Okay, now going back to your spreadsheet here, not your spreadsheet, but your workspace here. Let's go ahead and write that answer down. 1.273. That is our 0, 1.273. And I think there's a 1. So x is equal to 1.2731. All right, so that's our first solution, okay? And I just want to reiterate, one is plus, the other one is minus, right? So we're going to go back now and we're going to do the minus. We're going to do the subtraction. So I'm going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to copy it and I'm done and I'm going to paste it. I am not about to type this again. Okay, hold on just a second. And then we're going to paste it. And we're going to change that minus, excuse me, that plus to a minus. So let's go back to the right spot and we're changing that plus to a minus. All right, and then we press, and there goes our solution, 7.231. So if you come over here to check your answer, it is 7.231. Go back to where your workspace is, and let's write that answer down. X is equal to, let's get the right one. X is equal to 7.231. And that's how we find our solutions. So this is a 0, right? To write it as a point, remember we put the parenthesis here. And to write this as a point, remember we put the parenthesis here as well. Let me make sure I typed this incorrectly. 1.2731. Yes, okay. And 0. All right, there it goes. We're finished. That's our answer. So you want to take a picture of this work, okay, and submit it, or you can go ahead and just save your Desmos here, and that show us the work that you did as well. Okay, and make sure and we already have this link, so you will not need to resubmit it because it should be on there after you save it. All right, thank you. That's it for this video. Look out for the next.